I recreated the popular Girl in Red song, We Fell in Love in October, in FL Studio, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, laying out everything from the song composition to the recording and production process. Welcome to 3 AM Nachos, but you can call me Jack, and let's get started with the drums. The tempo of the song is 130 beats per minute, and I've essentially split up these drums into 4 different patterns. There's some EQ happening in the intro drums that gets rid of the low end a lot, so I separated that with different samples. There's also some volume automation as the drum pattern comes in. The drum sound in this track is very dry, very acoustic. It lays back. It's not too overbearing in the mix. Rather than adjusting the velocity of each hit of each sample, I just separated strong beats from weak beats for these samples. And you can see that here with the hats as well as the kick, and during the chorus I do it with the ride cymbals as well. The kicks are doubled and we have 3 different snares. One of them is kind of loose and reverberant, the other pretty tight, and the third one just an extra piece of texture. Most of these samples are going to the same place where I just have a little bit of reverb going on. I'm not completely sure about this, but I think that the drums in the original track are digital just because there's an excessive amount of ride cymbal happening along with the other percussive elements, and it would be pretty difficult to play on a real drum set. During the pre-chorus, we add some double snare hits. Halfway through the chorus, there is this extra sample added into the drum beat, and I can't tell if it's either a shaker or a hi-hat. I ended up using a hi-hat anyways. It plays on the off beat, so it kind of gives an extra element of groove and energy to the drum beat. There's this kind of sweep during the intro, which is really just a crash and that same crash sample, but in reverse. The transition is not perfect, but I did the best I could using this declicking mode, smooth, right here. The default is out only, which is just a harsh cut, so setting it to smooth helps out a little bit. Extra crashes during the chorus for impact. One of those samples is a ride, but I just used it as a crash. And that's pretty much it for the drums, so let's move on to the next thing I recorded, which is the bass. Now, as for the chord structure of this song, it's extremely simple. It goes from the 4th scale degree to the 1st, over and over and over again. The original track is in G major, so it switches from a C chord to a G chord, but I modulated it down a whole step, so now it goes from B flat to F. It gives it that kind of slowed plus reverb aesthetic, but without the copyright infringement, so perfect. No bass during the intro, and for the verse, we're just holding the root note of each chord, 2 bars each. Pretty simple. During the chorus, we're also playing the root note of each chord, but we switch to 8th notes. Just for some extra energy, percussiveness. The bass tone is pretty muted. There's not much high end. It's not very slappy in nature. And the post-processing is not overtly complicated. As a result, we just have a basic EQ and some light compression. Now on to the guitars, which actually took the longest to record out of all of these instruments. The intro has this interesting reversed, kind of warped, delayed element to it, and I recreated that with just some power chords on the guitar. I'm not plugged into an amp at the moment, but you should still be able to hear this. It goes D power chord, F power chord, G power chord, and it just switches between those 3, and then I reverse the track after I recorded it. The end result is pretty cool sounding. There are 2 different rhythm guitars, one kind of acting as a pad. It goes from a B flat major 7 chord to what I believe is an F6 chord. It does the same thing the bass does by just repeating that every 2 bars, and it doesn't change throughout the entire song. During the intro and the chorus, we also have a rhythm guitar part that is comprised of 8th notes. So we have the root of the chord, the 3rd, and the 7th. Play those. That's on B flat, and then it switches to F. It just repeats that over and over. There's more reversed guitar in the verse section, which it just switches between a high A note and a high D note. And you can hear a lot of delay and reverb on that. Lastly, during the chorus, there are 2 quote-unquote lead guitars. One of them isn't really a lead, it's just kind of a pedal note. Very intriguing. It just kind of ties everything together because that F note is in both chords of the song. And this other lead follows more of the vocal melody that you can hear with some extra rhythmic embellishment to it. And for most of these guitars, the theme is just delay and reverb. Some of them have EQs and compression, but some of them also don't need it. So last but not least, we have the magic vocals. Girl in Red sings in a pretty decently low register in this song, but since I'm a guy, I just put it down an octave so it's sitting in the same relative place in my vocal register. I did 3 takes. One of them I normalized to act as my lead vocal. The takes are not perfect. I am off pitch from time to time, but I decided not to do any pitch correction just because in the original track you can hear some dissonance in her vocal takes as well. Not as much compared to mine in all honesty, but it is what it is. It sounds fine. The EQ takes out some of the lows so it's not as boomy, and you mix it all together and you have yourself a Girl in Red tune. There's only one thing left to do, and that is to play the final mix of this track. But before I show you the green screen music video I recorded earlier today, I checked my analytics on YouTube a few days ago, and a whopping 4% of my viewers are subscribed. That is slightly abysmal, but if you've enjoyed the video up to this point, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. I hope you enjoy, guys. Thank you.
Smoking cigarettes on the roof. You look so pretty and I love this view. We fell in love in October. That's why I love fall. Looking at the stars, admiring from afar. My girl, my girl, my girl. You will be my girl, my girl, my girl, my girl. You will be my world, my world, my world, my world. You will be my girl.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions as for what artist I should cover next, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you sometime in the future. My hand somehow always gets sweaty from holding this microphone. I do not get it. Blech.